Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naran Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. Today we'll continue reading from 7th Canto, Chapter 9, entitled Prahlada pacifies Lord Narsingadeva with prayers. Text 1. The great saint Narada Muni continued. The demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and other great demigods, dared not come forward before the Lord, who at that time was extremely angry. Text 2. The goddess of fortune Lakshmi ji was requested to go before the Lord by all the demigods present, who, because of fear, could not do so. But even she had never seen such a wonderful and extraordinary form of the Lord, and thus she could not approach him. Text 3. Thereafter, Lord Brahma requested Prahlad Maharaj, who was standing very near him, my dear son, Lord Narsingadeva is extremely angry at your demonic father. Please go forward and appease the Lord. Text 4. Narad Muni continued, O king, although the exalted devotee Prahlad Maharaj was only a little boy, he accepted Lord Brahma's words. He gradually proceeded toward Lord Narsingadeva and fell down to offer his respectful obeisances with folded hands. Text 5. When Lord Narsingadeva saw the small boy Prahlad Maharaj prostrated at the soles of his lotus feet, he became most ecstatic in affection toward his devotee. Raising Prahlad, the Lord placed his lotus hands upon the boy's head because his hand is always ready to create fearlessness in all of his devotees. Text 6. By the touch of Lord Narsingadeva's hand on Prahlad Maharaj's head, Prahlada was completely freed of all material contaminations and desires, as if he had been thoroughly cleansed. Therefore, he at once became transcendentally situated, and all the symptoms of ecstasy became manifest in his body. His heart filled with love, and his eyes with tears, and thus he was able to completely capture the lotus feet of the Lord within the core of his heart. Text 7. Prahlad Maharaj fixed his mind and sight upon Lord Narsingadeva with full attention in complete trance. With a fixed mind, he began to offer prayers in love with a faltering voice. Text 8. Prahlad Maharaj prayed, how is it possible for me, who have been born in a family of asuras, to offer suitable prayers to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Even until now, all the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, and all the saintly persons who could not satisfy the Lord by streams of excellent words, although such persons are very qualified, being in the mode of goodness, then what is it? What is to be said of me? I am not at all qualified. Text 9. Prahlad Maharaj continued, one may possess wealth, an aristocratic family, beauty, austerity, education, sensory expertise, luster, influence, physical strength, diligence, intelligence, and mystic power. But I think that even all these qualifications, one cannot satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. However, one can satisfy the Lord simply by devotional service. Gajendra did this, and thus the Lord was satisfied with him. Text 10. If a Brahmana has all 12 of the Brahmanical qualifications, as they are stated in the book called Sanat Sujata, but is not a devotee and is averse to the lotus feet of the Lord, he is certainly lower than a devotee who is a dog eater but who has dedicated everything mind, words, activities, wealth, and life to the Supreme Lord. Such a devotee is better than such a Brahmana because the devotee can purify his whole family, whereas the so called Brahmana in a position of false prestige cannot purify even himself. Text 11. The Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is always fully satisfied in Himself. Therefore, when something is offered to Him, the offering, by the Lord's mercy, is for the benefit of the devotee, for the Lord does not need service from anyone. To give an example, if one's face is decorated, the reflection of one's face in a mirror is also seen to be decorated. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji, Swapna Mataji, Hare Krishna. Krishna and Prabhu, whenever you're ready, you can start, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prabhu, for giving this opportunity for my own purification. Thank you all for joining for today's Bhagavatam session. And thank you, Swapna Mataji, for reading today's Bhagavatam section translations. So we'll start with prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshurvanmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschapta Deshatarani. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th Canto, Chapter 9. Prahlad pacifies Lord Narasimhadev with the prayers. So today we'll go to the slokas. So in the section of Prahlad Maharaj and Lord Narasimhadev. So in the earlier sections, we have seen how Prahlad Maharaj preached Krishna consciousness to the his classmates, who are all the sons of demons. And due to his association, they all took up the Krishna consciousness sincerely and seriously, in such a way that they rejected the teachings of Shanda and Namarka, so the material education. And seeing that, so all the boys are advancing in the process of Krishna consciousness, these teachers are afraid, and they approached Hiranyakashipu and narrated what is going on in the school. And Hiranyakashipu became very angry, and he wanted to kill personally his own son Prahlad Maharaj. And he also chastised with many words, and he asked, like, where is his Lord? And Prahlad Maharaj mentioned that he is everywhere. And then he showed the one of the pillar, and he said, is he here? And Prahlad Maharaj said, yes. Then Hiranyakashipu broke that pillar, and we heard how Lord Narasimhadev appeared from that pillar. And there is a great fight between Hiranyakashipu and Lord Narasimhadev. And Lord Narasimhadev killed Hiranyakashipu, fulfilling all the benedictions that are given by Lord Brahma, his dear devotee. Like Hiranyakashipu cannot be killed by any weapon, or he cannot be killed inside the house or outside the house or on the ground or in the sky, like that. So fulfilling all those benedictions given by Lord Brahma, Lord Narasimhadev killed Hiranyakashipu. And then we heard how all the great personalities headed by Lord Brahma and Shiva, they offered wonderful prayers to Lord Narasimhadev. It's in the last chapter, and this chapter we will hear how Prahlad Maharaj pacified the Supreme Lord Narasimhadev, who was extremely angry after killing the Hiranyakashipu. So he continued to be angry after killing the Hiranyakashipu. So today we'll go to the slokas 1 to 11. So in the first sloka, we see that Narada Muni is continuing, saying that the demigods headed by Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva and other great demigods, they were dare not to come forward before the Lord, because Lord is very extremely angry. So we hear that this whole narration of Prahlad Maharaj, Hiranyakashipu, and Lord Narasimhadev is basically Narada Muni is speaking to Yudhishthira Maharaj. So here Narada Muni is mentioning that Lord Narasimhadev is very angry. So that's why all the demigods, they are not coming forward before the Lord. And Prabhupada mentions in the purport that so this is how that anger should be used. The krodha bhakta dveshi jane, like the krodha, the anger, which is one of the anartha in this material world, so should be used to punish the demons. who are envious of the devotees. That's how the anartha can be utilized in the service of Krishna. Not only this one anartha, angerness, but any anarthas like kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, macharya. So if it used for our sense gratification, then it will be problem. But if it can be diverted or it can be engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord, then it will be purified. So like we see that, Hanumanji, he used his angerness in the service of Lord Ramchandra and fought with full force towards the soldiers of Ravanasura, like that. So similarly, gopis engaged their lust for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Of course, externally it looks like lust, but it is pure love. So in that way, all the anarthas, either it is greed or pride, so everything can be, if we can divert them in the Krishna consciousness or in the service of Krishna, then they all will be purified. Like we can be greedy for Krishna instead of greedy for the material things. So if we can develop that greediness, or we can divert that greediness to perform Krishna consciousness more and more, that will help us to purify, and we can achieve the unlimited blissfulness. So like that. Otherwise, if we use for our own sense gratification, then Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that so it will lead the person towards the hellish planet. Trividam narakasyedam dwaram nasnam atmanaha kama krodha tada lobhas. Like, whether it's lust or anger and greed, if it is used our own sense gratification, then they will lead us to the hellish planets. So that's why one should be very cautious and should give up or divert to the Krishna consciousness or for the pleasure of Krishna. So Prabhupada mentions that a devotee should not be or cannot tolerate blaspheming either the Supreme Lord or his devotees. So that's what here also we see that, Lord Narasimhadev was very angry towards Hiranyakashipu because he is envious of the great devotee Prahlad Maharaj. So that's why he killed him. So, and now that angerness is continued when all the demigods headed by Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, so they could not pacify him. So, of course, even Mother Lakshmi Devi also could not come forward. That is because the Supreme Lord Krishna, Lord Narasimhadev, wants to show some special affection towards Prahlad Maharaj. So that the demigods can push Prahlad Maharaj towards Lord Narasimhadev to pacify him. So that we see in the next sloka also, like, second sloka, we see that when Lakshmi Devi was requested to be Lord by all the demigods present, even she also never seen such a wonderful and external from the Lord, and she could not approach him. And Prabhupada mentions that Krishna has unlimited forms. So in Brahma Samhita also we hear that Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Ananta Rupam. So he has unlimited forms. They're all situated in Vaikuntha planet. So they come here into this material world to punish the demons and protect the devotees and to re-establish the dharma. So even the goddess Fortune, being inspired by Leela Shakti, so being inspired by Leela Shakti, she could not appreciate this form, or she could not approach the Supreme Lord. And the Prabhupada mentions that for the common man, this could be wonderful or extraordinary form, but by the grace of the Lord, so devotee can easily understand. So in whichever the form the Supreme Lord appears, they can understand. So, and they are not only they understand, but because they have taken shelter of the Supreme Lord, so they are fearless. And Prabhupada quotes Lord Shiva's statements to Mother Parvati, saying that Narayana Parasarve Nakutaschana Bibhiti. So when one takes up the shelter of the Supreme Lord Narayana, then they become fearless. So there is no fear for them. And then in the third sloka, we see that Lord Brahma requesting Prahlad Maharaj, saying that Lord Narasimhadev is extremely angry at your demonic father. So please go forward and appease the Lord. So Sopitre, like, Brahma is mentioning that, so because your father did so many demonic activities, especially envious towards the devotees and chastising you, so he's very angry. So you please go forward and pacify the Lord. So here we see that, Krishna will be unhappy if one performs sinful activities, especially offending a devotee. Like here, Hiranyakashipu offended or chastised Krishna's dear devotee Prahlad Maharaj. So when one offends a devotee, an exalted devotee, then they will lose their material opulence. Like we see here Hiranyakashipu, because he offended Prahlad Maharaj, he was killed by Lord Narasimha. So there are like several pastimes, like even Indra also being puffed up with his opulence. So though he noticed his Guru Brahaspati came into the assembly, he did not give respect. Due to that, he lost all his opulence. So when one offends a devotee, then he will lose the life duration or his strength or opulences. So all those things will be lost. So that's why we should be very cautious when dealing with other devotees. Should be very respectful towards them. And in the fourth sloka, so Narada Muni is continuing saying that, so Prahlad Maharaj, who is exalted devotee, though he is a little boy, he accepted Lord Brahma's words. So this is one thing, good instruction for us also. Like how Prahlad Maharaj accepted the bona fide authority, Lord Brahma's words as it is, and then he proceeded toward Lord Narasimhadev and fell down to offer his respectable obeisances with folded hands. So similarly, we can also accept the instructions given by Guru or Acharyas as it is, then we can also make our human life successful. So like Prabhupada gave this a simple process, chanting 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra every day. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and follow the four regulative principles. If we can take up this instruction as it is, of course I am talking to myself, then we can also make our human life successful. And then we can go back home, back to Godhead. So in the text 5, Lord Narasimhadev, seeing the Prahlad Maharaj, so he became most ecstatic in affection, and raising Prahlad, the Lord placed his lotus hand upon Prahlad Maharaj's head, so which creates a fearlessness in all of his devotees. And Prabhupada mentions in the purport that so most of the conditioned living entities in this material world, they are very fearful. Ahara nidra bhaya maitva. Like, one of the thing is in this material world is bhaya, so fearful. And Prahlad Maharaj also in the earlier section he quoted Sada Samuddigna Diyam. So everyone is in great anxiety. So how they can become fearless or come out from this fear is here. We can see that so when one takes up the Krishna consciousness and one becomes a devotee, progress in the path of bhakti, then one can become fearless. So when Lord Narasimhadev appeared, so all of his devotees became fearless. So similarly, if we can chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra as much as we can, always think of the Supreme Lord, then we can also become fearless. So, and text 6 is that by the touch of Lord Narasimhadev hand, Prahlad Maharaj completely free from all material contaminations and desires, and he is thoroughly cleansed. And at once he became transcendently situated, and ecstatic symptoms of ecstasy became manifested in his body. And then he started offering prayers. So, and Prabhupada mentions in the purport that so this is the symptom of a devotee. Like as one progress in the path of bhakti, they will transcendently situated. Prabhupada quotes the Bhagavad Gita sloka saying that Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So as one progress in the path of bhakti, so not only their material contaminations or desires will be purified, but they will also be situated in the transcendental plane, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. And this is not something that is only available for the people who are taken birth in the high family or had a good, great education, not like that. So it is available for everyone and anyone. Papa Yonaiha, like Prabhupada quotes, Mamhi Padda Pepasitya Ye Api Suya Papa Yonaiha. Even people who are born in the lower family or even the Chandalas, so they also can, when they take up this process of bhakti, they can be situated in the Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpati. So, or Yanti Param Gatim. So they can approach the supreme destination, going back home, back to God. So this we see in the Prahlad Maharaj's pastimes also. Even though Prahlad Maharaj is born in the demonic family, but due to his great devotion to the Supreme Lord, so he situated in the transcendental plan. So Prabhupada stresses that so any material impediments, so any material obstacles that come into our life, so they will not be blocking our Krishna consciousness. So they are not something that are affects our Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is beyond these material elements. So that way, so any material challenges that come, it will not block our Krishna consciousness. We can still progress in the path of bhakti. So in the text 7, you see that Prahlad Maharaj fixed his mind on Lord Narasimhadev with full attention, and then he started offering prayers in love with a faltering voice. Prabhupada mentions that Susamahitaha, like very attentive, fixed. So Nishtha. So this is something that as a practicing devotee, we should also develop this thing. Like, when we are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra also, we should be full attentive. So we should pronounce very clearly and hear attentively. So when we can do this, then we can also be in the stage of samadhi. So we can be in the trance. So Prahlad Maharaj attained this stage, which is beyond the material senses. So Prabhupada stresses this, that one should chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra in such a way that we can situate in the stage of samadhi. And Prahlad Maharaj, in the 8th sloka, we see that Prahlad Maharaj, being very humble, is saying that how is it possible for me, born in a family of asuras, to offer suitable prayers to satisfy? Because until now, all the demigods, Vidyadharas, many saintly personas, they offered prayers and could not satisfy the Supreme Lord. Then what is to be said to me? I'm not at all qualified. So this is one another takeaway point that we can be inspired. So how Prahlad Maharaj is showing the quality of humbleness. So humbleness is a great ornament to a Vaishnava. So this is something that we can also develop in our own life. So develop the quality of humbleness. So, and Prabhupada mentions that the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says that he's lower than the worm in the stool, or more skillful than Jaga and Mada. Jaga and Mada Haitya Muni say Papista. He's saying that he's more sinful than Jaga and Mada. Of course, due to his humbleness, he's mentioning like that, not that he's more sinful than Jaga and Mada. But that's Vaishnava being very humble. So he himself thinks that very, he poses himself as unqualified, is very lower. And Prabhupada quotes Chaitanya Charitam, Mahaprabhu's one of the instruction, Trinadapi Sunichena, Taroreva Sahisnu, Namanina Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari. So these are something that a Vaishnava should develop. Trinadapi Sunichena, one should be very humbler than a blade of grass. So if one becomes very humble, then one can be able to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra very attentively. And Mahaprabhu himself exhibits this quality of humbleness in many places. And one of the such a place is when Sanatana Goswami asked Mahaprabhu to narrate or to give different explanation for the verse, one of the Bhagavatam sloka, Atma Ramascha Manayo. Then Mahaprabhu says that generally by myself I cannot give an explanation, but by the strength of your association, something may manifest itself. But Mahaprabhu Krishna himself is saying that due to your association, I will be able to explain. So he is giving all the credit to Sanatana Goswami and taking a humble position. So that is a wonderful qualities that Vaishnava should develop. And Prahlad Maharaj here mentioning in the 9th sloka, saying that so one may possess wealth, beauty, austerity, so many things, material things, but all these qualifications cannot satisfy Supreme Lord. But what will satisfy Krishna? The simply by devotional service. And he gave an example. Gajendra did that, and then he satisfied the Supreme Lord Vishnu. So, and even Lord Brahma mentions in Brahma Samhita saying that Vedeshu Durlabham Adurlabham Atma Bhaktam. So one cannot approach or satisfy Krishna due to their education or wealth, beauty, austerity. So Hiranyakashipu did a great austerity, but it did not please the Lord Narasimhadev because he did it for his sense gratification. But what will please Krishna? Our devotion service. And then Krishna will reveal to the devotee. Bhaktyamam abhijanati. So that's why devotees could understand Krishna. Or devotees would know more than anyone else about the Supreme Lord. So when Lord is pleased with our devotion service, then he will reveal him. Otherwise, he will not reveal. Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavrataha, like that. He will not reveal to the non-devotees. And Prahlad Maharaj mentions in the next sloka, saying that a Brahmana has 12 Brahmanical qualification. Like, he controls the senses, and he's knowledgeable. So he performs the great austerity, follows the religious principle, is free from jealousy. So those kind of 12 qualities a Brahmana has it. But if he is not a devotee and averse to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, then he is certainly lower than a devotee who is a dog eater. So even though he has all these Brahmanical qualification, but if he is not a devotee, then he is lower than a devotee who appeared in the dog eater family. Because the devotee dedicates everything, the mind, words, activities for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So such a devotee is better than a Brahmana. Because a Brahmana cannot purify himself, or he cannot go back home, he cannot go to the spiritual world through these Brahmanical qualifications if he is not a devotee. But a devotee being surrendered to the Supreme Lord's lotus feet, so not only he is situated in the transcendental plane, Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpata, but so he can also purify his whole. So that is the Prabhupada mentions that is here Prahlad Maharaj, who is one of the Mahajana, is giving a distinction between a Brahmana or a devotee. Of course, Brahmana who is not a devotee, but compared with a devotee, even though he is born in a lower family. And Prabhupada quotes that sloka saying that Mamcho yo abhicharana bhakti yoga na sevate. So when one does bhakti yoga, then he will be situated in the Brahma Bhuyaya Kalpate. So in that way, so he is not only situated on the transcendental plane, but he will also purify other family members also. And Prabhupada also gives example saying that when Prabhupada was in this material, in this planet, when the Krishna consciousness is progressing, so many European and American devotees took up this process, sincerely practicing it. So even their family members, some of them, at the verge of death, they were thinking about Krishna due to the association of their sons or daughters. So they were also thinking of Krishna at the time of death. So which means that if they can continue to think of Krishna at that time, they'll go back home, back to God. So it is also mentioned that if anyone who becomes a pure devotee of Krishna, they can deliver 21 generations. So this is a great benefit that one can do to their family or to the society. When they give this Krishna consciousness to the others, so they will be purified. So the last sloka for today, text 11, saying that the Supreme Lord is always fully satisfied. So therefore, when something is offered to him, so it is for the benefit of the devotee, not for the benefit of the Supreme Lord. And here also an example is given, like one's face is decorated, automatically the reflection of one's face in the mirror is also decorated. So, and Prabhupada mentions that, quoting this sloka, saying that, if we are offering something or we are chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, so not for the benefit of the Supreme Lord, it's for our own benefit. So when we chant, because Krishna is served with great awe and reverence by thousands and hundreds of Lakshmis. Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma mentions that Lakshmi Sahasra Sata Sambrama Sevyamanam. So Krishna is served by many thousands and hundreds of Lakshmis in the Vaikuntha Dhama, or spiritual world. So if we are serving Krishna, or we are offering some service, or we are performing some service to Krishna, so here, so that is for our own benefit, not that Krishna needs something. So when we do service, then our heart will be cleansed. Chetodarpanamarjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapam. So as much as we do service to Krishna or his devotees, then that much we are purified. So it's like a gold mine, when we go to a gold mine, so how much we dig it and take it, that much we become rich. If we don't dig anything, then we continue to stay poor. But if we dig and take that gold as much as we can, then we will become that much rich. So similarly, as much as we engage in Krishna consciousness, we become purified, or we will benefit that much. So in conclusion, Srila Prabhupada stresses that if we engage more and more in the Krishna consciousness, then the more and more we become benefited, because Krishna doesn't need any service from us. So that is our purification. So I'll pause it here. Thank you all for giving this opportunity. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much.